Hey there. This is a relatively heavy topic for me today, but in these growing and changing times where a lot of us are in quarantine and home with significant others who may not be healthy for us emotionally or physically, I thought it was really important to talk and share my story so that you can be safe and healthy too. So, this video is for you if you are in a relationship where you feel unsafe, either mentally or physically. Video is for you if you fear for the safety of your children. This video is for you if, yeah, it basically if you do not feel free to live life happily due to your significant other. My name is Sutton. I'm the host of the Positive Productivity Podcast, and although this video might not seem positive to start, as we proceed, I'm going to share my story with you and give you hope for a much happier future. In 2010, I left a marriage that I had been in for 8 years. I had been with my first husband for 13 years. We were high school sweethearts, and I think it's really important to say that I made a lot of mistakes. I started my first business in 2005. I got inspired. I had bought a scrapbooking magazine and I was inspired to start an e-commerce shop because I wanted to pay off the tool that I had purchased. My hair is driving me crazy. That I ended up going $100,000 in debt. I didn't talk to my first husband about any of that. It stressed him out, stressed me out. I really wasn't passionate about the business. I just need to get that off my plate, okay? I was also working full-time as an interior designer. I was designing schools all throughout the state of Ohio. And at night when I got home from work, I would take care of the kids for a little bit, put them to bed, and get right back into my business. I would stay up till 2, 3 a.m. working on the business. My husband barely saw me, but it created a lot of friction. I must say, though, that even 10 years, 5 years before this, when we were first together outside of New York City, and our first son was born, he would take the stroller with him. I was a stay-at-home mom. He would take the stroller with him so I couldn't go anywhere during the day. He would monitor everywhere that I went. He wanted to know everywhere that I was going. $2 on a Dunkin' Donuts was too expensive. It was very controlling. Okay. So we moved to Ohio in 2005. I started that business, went $100,000 in debt. Again, I admit I made my fair share of mistakes. On January 2nd, 2008, I admitted to him that I was feeling suicidal. It was caused by sleep deprivation, and I needed support. I was hallucinating, all the worst that you could possibly imagine. My hair was falling out. I was losing weight. And instead of being supported, he said, if you want to see your kids again, you are going to the mental hospital now. So I felt very alone. I was in there for 6 days. And when I got out, I found out that he had contacted a divorce attorney. Oh, there's a fly bomb in my head. Positive productivity does not mean perfection. It doesn't mean that everything's always positive either, but we can decide to learn from the mistakes of our past and to share those mistakes and the lessons that we learned with others. And that includes avoiding the flies that are fly bombing our head. So, again, I wasn't perfect. He had contacted a divorce attorney. While I was working at the interior design and architecture office that I was working at, I ended up having an affair. So, again, I need to be totally transparent. I made my fair share of mistakes. In with all of this, however, he decided that a new way of punishing my children was giving freezing cold showers and putting hot sauce in the mouth. And to me, that is totally unacceptable. That is not a way to discipline children. I went down to the police station and I couldn't take the kids with me because he had them at home. And the police said it was hearsay because I couldn't take the kids with me, they couldn't hear it from the kids' mouths. And that way, and for that reason, it was hearsay. Because, fast forward to the end of 2008, I lost my job. And while I tried to make a go at building my own interior design studio, I really wasn't passionate about it. I had a garage full of scrapbooking inventory from my e-commerce shop that I had shut down after I got out of the hospital, and I decided to take a go at that. So I kept on going. But because I wasn't bringing in sustainable income, he decided that the money wasn't mine. You know, the money that he brought in was his money, and he had the ability to take away my car keys, my my cell phone, because he was paying that bill. He could shut off the internet at any time he wanted. But I needed a job, right? I needed a way to make money. I was feeling more and more unsafe, and I knew that something had to change. So I ended up getting an office, very inexpensive office for my business. It cost me about $200 a month. And one day while I was down there, I was having a conversation with my sister, who, by the way, I was pretty much disconnected from my siblings. My then husband didn't like my family, and communication and visits too was very limited. And she said that I should talk to my dad. So I talked to my father, and he said, Kim, what are you waiting for? And to be totally honest, I was waiting to hit the 8 or 9 year mark whenever it was that I would be eligible for pension and Social Security. I have to just fully admit I was staying for the money at that point. But my father gave me the best piece of advice that I ever remember him giving. He said, is another year of what you're going through right now, and keep in mind the kids were getting freezing cold showers and hot sauce in their mouths, and you know, what was his was not ours, what was mine was ours. I knew I couldn't stay, and I realized that my father was right. Staying for another year to get that payout was not worth the mental and physical harm that could come. So I started looking around. My business at that point was making 25 cents a day. It wasn't enough to just pack up and leave. So I ended up going and applying to a rent income-based apartment complex here in my town. And I was accepted. But I couldn't make the move yet. I didn't have the money, and so I decided that I was going to save up the money, keep the application there, and when I was ready, I was going to move out. But on December 7th, 2010, he noticed that I wasn't wearing my wedding band, and he took away my car keys and wanted to take my phone, and told me that the next morning I was going to have to walk my then first grader to school in sub-zero temperatures. And when I say sub-zero, I mean the wind chill was going to be -19. I had enough. There was no way, because at that point I had the second grader and then a preschooler. So because I was a stay-at-home mom, I was going to have to walk him to school in -20 degrees along with his little brother. And I decided enough is enough. So unfortunately, he took my car keys. He wanted to take my cell phone. I wouldn't give that up. I called the cops. They advised him that, it's community property. We've been married for this long. Give it back. He said no. And he just wouldn't have it. Now, I made a very, probably not the smartest decision. I decided that night I wasn't going to stay at my house. I went down to my office and slept the night there. And the next morning he did come and he gave me my car keys, because I think he probably talked to his parents and they said, you got to give her keys back. That's not good for the kids, right? But over the course of that night, I had talked to my family and they decided that I was moving out that day. I had two friends, in my whole town. I had lived here for 5 years and I had two friends, and we got the ball in motion because of the hot sauce, because of the cold showers. I went down to the courthouse and I was able to get a restraining order. My mother called the apartment complex and they said I could move in that day. And here's the even better part. They were having a special. It was December. I had $175 for the first month, which is huge. My dad and stepmom helped me with my utilities, or the deposits for the utilities, and my friends brought over their pickup truck. And while my first husband, was at work, we loaded the pickup truck. It took 5 or 6 trips because I was only a half block away, or a half mile away, and we moved the stuff back and forth. So in a half a day, we moved everything out that I needed. I didn't take a bed. I didn't take a sofa. I took the kids' beds, their clothes, their toys, and what we needed to survive. To me, our mental and physical safety was far more important than the comforts of a bed, right? My kids had it. I didn't need a bed. I needed clothes. I needed a pan to cook in. I needed some toilet paper. I needed a couple towels to shower with. So we left. And as I said, I was unemployed. Now, a lot of people are scared because they're unemployed and they don't have money. But sometimes, not sometimes, when you're fearing for your safety, mental or physical, there are resources to help you. I want to fast forward 10 years because I want you to know that my ex-husband has changed. I made him a lot of mistakes. He's made a lot of mistakes, and he's actually a good dad now. As a result of our divorce, we split custody, 50-50. He knew I wasn't going to play games. He knew I would take the kids to the cops in a second if I had to, but we had a guardian ad litem who suggested 50-50. I couldn't contest it. That's what we did. But now, 10 years later, we can talk better than we ever did while we were dating or married. So I want you to know that my kids are safe. When they go spend time with their dad, they're 17 and 14 now, almost 18 and 15. They're going to be a freshman and a senior in high school now. So I just want you to know that that security is there. But I did, on that day that I left, along with getting the restraining order, I also went to our Job and Family Services office here in Ohio, and I filed the application for welfare, child support, or child care assistance, and food assistance. Not welfare, medical assistance. In the end, I ended up getting food stamps and support. And it was that support that enabled me to go out and look for a job because I did not want to be sitting at home. If I wanted to be sitting at home doing nothing, then I wouldn't be talking to you right now, right? I'm not a lazy person. Every Friday, I had to go to the local job office and go to open interviews. And I can tell you that while I was there in a suit, showered, makeup, hair done, the majority of the other people in that office were wearing sweatsuits. They probably hadn't showered, like they stank. Their hair looked like a mess. They were there because they needed to be. I was there because I was looking to build a better life for my children and I. We got food assistance for a couple months. I ended up getting a job at Chipotle. I got kicked off the line because my burritos wouldn't stay together. But those $9 an hour for 20 to 30 hours a week, plus the little bit of assistance I was getting for a little bit, they enabled me to build a better life for my boys and I. Eventually, I met my husband, Dave, who's my awesome husband that I'm now married to. I met him in the process. We now have 3 more children of our own, but both of us have been in abusive relationships in the past. Neither of us will deal with that type of crap in the future, and you don't have to deal with it either. I don't care if your bank account says 0. I don't care if it's in the red. There are resources out there that can help you to live a healthy, mentally and physically healthy life now. So if you're sitting there, and I know this could be controversial because your significant other could be sitting right next to you right now. If you're sitting there worried about your future, worried about your mental health, worried about your physical health, or worried about your children in any way, you need to get the hell out of there. All right? I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't left. I wouldn't be where I am today if my dad hadn't said, is it worth waiting another year for money? Have times been tough? Hell, yes. We've had a car repoed. We've gone into foreclosure. We've, had weekends that we had 13 cents in the bank. I remember that I lived off of those Chipotle meals that I got because I got a free meal every shift. And for me, that was the one meal I would eat every day. But I took my tips home, and that's what I paid, or that's how I paid for my kids' food. But it was worth it. We were, and we are a lot happier because I left and I took them with me. I would love to know if this has helped you at all. I don't want you to ever feel like you're alone. All right? If you are not feeling safe right now, you have a responsibility to you to leave. So feel free. You can contact me at any point. You can contact me through my Facebook page, through Twitter, through my website at thekimsutton.com. But know that you are not alone and you can move forward into a happier life. But the decision, the choice is yours. You can decide to leave today, or you can decide to keep on staying in an unhealthy environment. And I want you to know, if you have kids, that by staying, you're teaching them that that type of behavior is okay. That was a final clue to me that I needed to leave. It was not okay for my boys to be taught that this is how you can treat your children, that this is how you can teach your wife. Marriage is a partnership. And if you don't feel like a partner, if you don't feel safe in that partnership, then it is your right to leave. I hope this has helped you. I hope that if you are in an unsafe place right now, that you feel the courage to move on. And yeah, I'll pray for you. I'll be back on Wednesday with another session of Work Smarter, Not Harder Wednesdays. I almost said Friday. Positive productivity isn't about perfection. But I'll pray for you, my friend. I hope that you and all your relationships are extremely loving, amazingly happy, and amazingly healthy. But if they're not, move on. Now, until the next time I see you, go forth and make it a positive and a productive day.